Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is Mr. Fitness, the body transformation specialist. And on tonight's episode of Weight Loss Warriors, we're going to be speaking with Ashley. So Ashley has an absolutely awesome story that she's going to share with us tonight. And she's going to talk about everything. She's going to talk about where she's been, where she's at, everything in between. So if you're in the mood for another awesome episode of Weight Loss Warriors, then you're in the right place. If you're new here, I want to welcome you. But if you've been here before, welcome back. On Weight Loss Warriors, our goal is to motivate, to inspire, and to encourage you to know that you too can do it. So before we get to Ashley and her story, if you've missed any of the past episodes of Weight Loss Warriors and you'd like to get caught up, head over to youtube.com/fitnessmotivation4u2. That's fitness motivation, the number 4, the letter U, the number 2. There you'll be able to check out every past episode of Weight Loss Warriors plus some other really good content. And while you're there, consider subscribing and hit that bell notification so you never ever miss another episode. Also, if you've got a weight loss story that you'd like to share and you'd like to do it here on a future episode of Weight Loss Warriors and you're watching this live, go ahead and DM me and let's talk. But if you're watching this on the rebroadcast on YouTube down below, click the link and let's talk about getting you on a future episode. Last but not least, before we get to Ashley's awesome story, if you're looking to start a weight loss journey but you don't know what to do, or you've already started a journey but maybe you're not getting the results, I would like to help. If you're watching this live, DM me, let's talk. And if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link down below. Now that we got that out of the way, let's see if we can get Ashley on the show. And also, guys, if you've got any questions for Ashley, I've got my own list of questions, but if you've got questions that you want to ask, go ahead and shoot them in on the live, and I'll make sure Ashley gets those questions, and I'm sure she's going to have some answers for you. But we're waiting for Ashley to go ahead and request to be part of the live. Guys, I'm also considering doing some other things in terms of some informational lives on certain topics. Like one of the topics I came up with was like cellulite and loose skin. So if you'd like to see those as well, let me know, because I'm thinking about doing those too. Oh, it looks like we got her. Let's see if we can get her on. Thank you, everybody, for joining the live tonight. Let's see. Just a few minutes to share, or a few seconds to share her awesome story with us tonight. So we're just waiting. Again, guys, there she is.
Hi.
What's going on? How you doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing absolutely good over here in rainy, it looks like rainy New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had some.
Here in California.
Yeah, you're over in California, right?
Yes.
All right. So how's the weather over there? How's the weather?
It's pretty hot.
Hot?
70. We're at 78 today.
I see. I don't know what we're at, but just as I'm speaking about the weather, it is starting to rain. But anyway, we are not going to let the rain on our awesome interview, because we are here to talk about you and your story and everything you've accomplished. So I got a list of questions, but I'm sure, again, guys, questions are going to come floating across the screen. I will make sure we get those questions across to Ashley, and I'm sure, like I said before, she's got some answers. So, Ashley, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the interview. My first question is, how did you come up with your Instagram name?
Oh, wow. So my first name was like, I was like, what am I going to do? So then like my first one was like My Journey RNY. And then I was like, you know, coming out in like the maintenance phase, I'm like, I'm not so much like, I don't want the RNY to define me anymore, because I think I'm so much more past my gastric bypass now. I think, you know, I'm different. I'm me, and you know, I'm a misfit, and I kind of always have been, but now I'm just a more reserved misfit. But it's me, just different, you know, just completely my own.
I hear you. And we've got Lori_Macy just said she just started her pre-op diet today. So let's give her a round of applause.
Yay.
Yes, and I'm sure, Ashley, you're going to have some tips for someone like herself that just started her plan and her diet, and she's looking to get the results that you've gotten. So we're going to get to diet, we're going to get to exercise, we're going to get to the good, to the bad. But I guess my next question is, what was your highest weight?
So my highest weight was the last time I weighed myself was about 308,
Okay.
308, 310.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
It was maybe a year before I decided to go forward with gastric bypass.
Okay. So what's
Yep.
your current weight?
I'm sitting at like I go between like 135 to 143.
Okay. And are you at your goal weight, or do you still have more to go? And if so, how long do you think it's going to take you to kind of get there?
Well, I'm 5'6",
Mhm.
5'6", 5'7", and 5'6.5".
Mhm.
So when I got down to like 125, 120, people kind of looked at me and said, "Well, Ash, you're a little too skinny." So then I started like kicking it up in the gym, really trying to lean out and gain some muscle mass.
Mhm.
And right now I'm pretty much at like, I want to lean up some more and definitely, sculpt my muscles and get my, everybody likes, the thick thighs, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm basically doing a lot of training on that, just gaining muscle now. And I'm happy with my weight right now. I've never been this lean before in my life.
Yeah. And, we'll talk a little bit more about exercise and what you're doing in the gym and all those good things. But I think it's important for people to realize, and one of the things I tell my clients all the time is it's not about what the scale says. Because
Not at all.
Well, I think people have to realize that a pound is a pound, whether it's a pound of muscle or a pound of fat. When you step on the scale is going to say the same thing. But the difference is muscle is more dense than fat. So a pound of muscle is much smaller than a pound of fat. So you can't get wrapped up in the scale. What I recommend all my clients do is buy a scale that measures more than one metric, measures more than just your weight.
Yes.
Buy a scale that measures your body fat, your hydration levels, your bone density. Now, I'm not going to go into the science behind how these scales do that, but just understand that these are the most high-tech methods that you can get to get the numbers that are necessary to really tell you what's going on. And your weight does not tell you the whole picture.
Yeah. And that number can really mess with you. And if you don't know the difference and all that, that's where it really starts messing with you mentally, and you start over. And that's exactly how I got myself to, was definitely caring too much about that number, and then really realizing that there's so much more into it than just that number and just that body weight.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like you're not so focused on the number on the scale, but how did you really go about getting yourself past that? Maybe you never had it like a lot of people have it, but was there ever a moment where you were more fixated on the scale? And if so, how did you get yourself past that?
Well, so when you're overweight, you're eating too much. And what happened is that when I started caring too much about that number, I kind of stopped eating. And I kind of did the reverse, I did the other end of the spectrum. So then I started getting myself hypoglycemic. And so my blood sugar was dropping super, super low to dangerous. Like, I really got myself sick. And I had to really focus and realize that food is not the devil. The food is not the problem. It is an excess. It isn't wrong. And I had to retrain myself that eating healthy and eating healthy foods at healthy amounts, that's what I need to do to get my body, because your muscles aren't going to grow if you're not feeding your muscles.
Exactly.
And you have to have good food, healthy food in your body for your muscles to grow, or you're not going to get that butt you want. Because if you're not feeding them, then it doesn't really matter how much you're putting in at the gym. You're not going to gain any muscle. So I really, really had to, and it's hard. It's just as hard as going through the surgery is learning to have a balanced relationship with food.
Yeah. And I think you brought up a good point that, when what I think of when we're talking about food and that relationship is, people have to understand that it's going to be very difficult for you to overeat healthy foods. Like, just think, how hard would it be for you to overeat lettuce? Something.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to eat too much lettuce, but it's very easy to overeat French fries and potato chips, and it takes such a small amount of those foods to add up to such, you know, negative results. Whereas with the lettuce, you would have to eat a lot to really, and I don't think I really don't know if you could eat too much lettuce. I'm not, you know, the lettuce authority, but you know,
Right.
I think you get what I'm saying is that if you're eating healthy foods,
totally.
your body is going to be able to utilize what's in those foods for repair and energy and all of those things. Whereas when you're eating unhealthy stuff, your body can only do one of two things with it. When you're eating a lot of sugar, your body's either going to store it or use it. Most of us just aren't active enough to really need all those, you know, those carbs and those sugars. So that's how we end up gaining a lot of weight.
Yeah.
You know, so let's kind of backtrack to your enough is enough moment. And I remember when we were talking, you said you realized that you can't keep up with your kids while being overweight. You said you didn't want your kids to go through what you went through, and you said you needed to set a better example. So what exactly was your enough is enough moment? What was that moment that you decided I need to finally do something?
You know, it's taxing on a parent when you want to be so involved with their children and you're the stay-at-home mom who can't get out of bed and who can't keep up with their kids. And I mean, I had the luxury of being able to stay home with my kids, but yet I couldn't even be active with them because my body was shutting down on me. You know, at 30 years old, I was having problems that a 60, 70-year-old person would have. And that's not okay. And in any way, is that okay? So I kind of I looked at my husband and I said, I think it's time that I go forward with this. I need to change my life and I need that extra help that is going to help to kick me into overdrive, to really show me that you need to change your life because I was going to die either way.
So what were some of those things that you couldn't do with your family that made you really decide that, okay, I got to do something? Because it sounds like the quality of not only your life was being affected, but the quality of your husband, your kids, your family's life was being affected by you being overweight. So what were some of the things that you were unable to do? Because I know when we were speaking, you even said that you didn't get a chance to enjoy your pregnancy. You know.
Yeah. I mean, that's what sucks is that, like, you want to be able to, like, feel pregnant. I felt more overweight. You know, I didn't feel comfortable with anybody touching my stomach, let alone even going to the doctor for that matter, because it's just, everybody just looked at me that I was just more obese than I was before. But, you know, it's like going to the park, fitting down a slide, being able to sit on a swing with my kid in my lap. I wasn't even able to fit on the swing. And then, like, water parks, that you could throw that out the window, roller coasters out the window. I mean, I remember getting on a ride and being told, you can't fit, you have to get up. And that was the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me throughout. Out of being as big as I was, that was the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone, I guess, that's procrastinating, that's putting things off, and, you know, they need that kickstart that you needed? What do you say to that person?
You got to do it, because you're not making it any better by waiting. You're making it worse, because then surgery gets more complex. Surgery gets more dangerous, because it's already dangerous as it is. Going in, being as heavy, you know, somebody who's at obese stage 2, 3, and you get even bigger, more weight, it's going to make it more dangerous. And then some doctors may turn you down because of how heavy you are. And we've all seen the TV show. Yeah. Not many doctors do it that heavy. So just start dieting before, you know, if it's something you know you're going to start looking into, you know, look up on the internet what a pre-op diet is, you know, see what those things are. You know, start doing them. Get yourself to a doctor or whatever, which way you do it. Get a personal trainer. Reach out. Ask for help, because the worst thing that you can do is just to sit on your ass and wait longer.
And you know, what you said is exactly true, that the reality of the situation is nothing gets easier by doing nothing.
Exactly.
And it only gets harder. So you don't stay the same by doing nothing. By default, if you do nothing, you are making your situation worse. And it only gets easier when you decide to take action and do something about it. And, you know, oftentimes what I say is that the main difference between people that succeed and people that don't is that the people that succeed identify their problem, they identify a solution, and most importantly, they take action. They do something, you know, and imperfect action is better than no action. Because the reality is, there's no guarantee that whether you do it with surgery or whether you do it the quote unquote natural way, that there's no guarantee that there's going to be success, because there's a lot of people that do surgery that don't succeed.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
You know, so I think people have to realize that, you know, you are in complete control of the outcomes, and the more you do, the more you get. You know, so I guess let's kind of go back even further to your childhood. So you said that when we were talking before that you were a dancer in middle school, and you said
I was a dancer.
And you said dancing helped you maintain your weight, and you also started getting bullied. So how was your childhood growing up heavy?
Oh God, I mean, it wasn't fun. You know, being the heavy girl, you know, I got told like, oh, you have such a pretty face. It's, you know, it's always like, it was some compliment like that. Oh, but you have a really pretty face. And it's just like, okay, well, thanks. You know, I got told countless times, you know, if you weren't so heavy, I would date you. Or watching all my friends go to prom, and, you know, it was hard. It was not easy. The bullying, God, if some of that stuff happened nowadays, you know, these kids would get arrested for the way they treated me. But, you know, it made my skin thicker. It made me, unfortunately or fortunately, depends on how you look at it, sculpts me who I am as a person today. And maybe it's good that I went through some hard stuff growing up, and I know what I never want my kids to treat people. I know what I don't want them to grow up as. You know, it all landed me here. So I can't be that ungrateful for everything that happened to me, but it hurt, it sucked. And I'm thankful that I did have the parents and the handful of friends that I did have that, you know, maybe say that life was worth it, because some people, you know, kill themselves over bullying and commit suicide. You know, every day people do that over bullying. And I'm just lucky enough that I still had a good direction in life. That, you know, I saw that there was at least some worth there in myself.
So what do you say to someone? There might be, you know, kids watching this. What do you say to that person that's going through something similar to what you were going through, the bullying, and, you know, what do you say to that person? How do you encourage that person to not give up?
I mean, it's hard. It's definitely hard. But I mean, the only thing I could say is that I know that it is easier to, when you're young and you see and you're getting bullied, the only thing that will keep your head up and make changes. Even being young, if you're never too young to change your diet. I get that it may be something that your parents are buying, or it's easier to go grab fast food or eat lunch. I mean, I guarantee that if somebody who's overweight and it was because the parents are buying crappy food, I guarantee if you went to your parents and said, you know, look, I want to start eating a little healthier, I guarantee they wouldn't have an issue with it. You know, it starts with just making change and really looking at yourself and seeing that you're worth it too. And life's worth it. And just like as it is for an old person, you know, or an older person, you know, make the change. Doing nothing's making it worse.
Yeah. So talk a little bit more about what you're doing to make sure that your kids don't go through I think we got paused there for
I do, yeah, the connection got all messed up, but I'm back. The, to make sure that my kids don't go through the same stuff that I went through, I do a lot of, they do protein shakes. They love smoothies. We eat healthy. We eat at home. I think the only time we do eat out is when I get pizza, and that's maybe once every couple weeks. But other than that, I am always making. Me and my mom always go back and forth between making meals every night. And there's, I think, since my surgery, which is amazing, my whole family kind of got on board with eating better. So we always make sure we incorporate a protein, a starch, and a vegetable every night with dinner. So it's, you know, and then it's that family time, kind of what we lost, you know, in the mix of me being as unhealthy as I got with growing my family. It got easy to order, you know, on your phone. You know, Grubhub or DoorDash. Oh my God, it got, you know, so easy to eat shit like crap all day long. And now it's just, don't do any of that stuff. It's been about 3 years we've really eaten junk food like that before, you know?
So it sounds to me like you've had a pretty strong support system when you growing up. It sounds like your parents were really supportive. It sounds like your entire family is completely on board. And that does definitely make things easier. But we're bound to have people that are going to be watching this that don't have that level of support that you had. What advice or encouragement do you give to those people to not let that affect their forward progress?
Oh yeah, 'cause, I mean, you got to do you regardless. I mean, I didn't lose family over this, but I sure lost a lot of friends over this. And the only thing I can say is, if they really cared about you, they'd be there supporting you. And the ones that aren't or can't handle you at your best, then they don't need to be a part of your future, because you need to learn to live for you, because there's nobody else you can depend on. And unfortunately, sometimes that means family. And sometimes that means the closest people to you, but you also can't let them bring you down. And you got to stay strong, and you got to believe in yourself, and you got to put you first. You have to. So you talked about losing friends because of your weight loss, and you would think that by doing something positive, that your friends, your real friends, would be supportive. And I'm sure the real ones were supportive, but how did that make you feel, knowing that people that were supposedly friends were no longer, or you were losing them because you were making these positive changes? Oh, because they couldn't handle, I mean, I was the, you know, the fat girl that did everything for everyone. I was that one that, you know, the Duff, the movie, I always called, after that movie came out, that's what I called myself, because that's what I felt like. That's how I was treated by a group of people that I did think that were my friends. And then after all this happened, if it wasn't somebody trying to hit on me after they looked at me disgusting for years, or losing a friend that I thought was one of my closest friends just because they couldn't handle me being better, or not taking their crap anymore, or actually sticking up for myself and having a thought process for myself, you know, they couldn't handle it. You know, it turned to, oh, she wears too much makeup, or she does too much this. And it's just like, well, I've always worn makeup, but, you know, it's just little things that they found, but like they had to, you know, pick at me, but it's they weren't real.
Well, I mean, also the reality is that change is uncomfortable, whether it's positive change or negative change. And it's going to be uncomfortable enough for you trying to make the change. But you also got to realize that it's going to be uncomfortable for the people around you, because they're so used to you being one way. And you have to be willing to let go of some things in order to gain some things that are better. And that includes people as well. You got to be willing to let go of some people that are holding you back to get to where you want to be. So I just understand that if you're starting this journey, the more changes you make, the more uncomfortable you are going to make people. Right? So you also said that negative self-talk started around that time when you were in school and getting bullied. How did you deal with negative self-talk?
Oh wow. I mean, God, I let it beat me forever. I mean, that was the worst thing. And you know, I still have I still come to terms with it even nowadays, but now I know how to handle it. Now I know how to shut it up. Before it used to overcome me to where I'd be like, okay, screw it. Then I'm gonna just it doesn't really matter what I already hate myself here, so screw it. I'm gonna go eat the extra cheeseburger or get the extra large value meal. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I let it completely control me until I learned that voice does not control me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So then you also said that you got to high school and you said the bullying got worse. You said
Yeah.
you started to take your aggression out on others and you started getting into a
Yeah.
lot of trouble. And then this might have been where things changed. You said your parents took away dance. And
Yes.
that's when you started to gain weight.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to parents that might be going through this with their kids?
Oh my God, you know, it's funny. I've actually asked my mom that question. I go, why would you take away the one thing that made me active? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and she couldn't really answer it. And the only thing I could say, I mean, there was so many red flags. I mean, my mom shouldn't have done it. You know, I was so unhappy. I was not mentally okay at that point to take away the one thing that was my outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't ever do that. I mean, there are other ways to punish. There's other ways to. There's just so many other ways than to take away the one thing. I mean, you're taking away something that a kid is something passionate about, and I get it. You want to punish your child.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God. I mean, I was running amok in high school, so I mean, I get it. But the one thing that was keeping me somewhat normal and active and happy, it was probably the worst thing she could have done. And I don't ever recommend doing anything like that.
Yeah.
Ever.
So
there's other things to do.
yeah. So you said dance was your escape. Now, do you believe that you started gaining weight simply because of the fact of the lack of activity? Or was it the fact that your escape from reality was taken away? You know, it's like with a lot of people that smoke cigarettes. They say that they start gaining weight because when they stop smoking, now they have to substitute something with that cigarette that they're no longer putting in their mouth. What was the reason why you started gaining weight once dance was taken away?
I mean, I was dancing a lot. I was on a competition team, so I was dancing upwards of 10 hours a week, and that's a lot of. I mean, it was a lot of movement. I mean, I was burning a lot of calories, and I mean, I was still not small. I think at this point I was 16, 17 at 180, 200 pounds. So that's still heavy for that age, you know? So, I think it was a lack of the movement that made me gain the weight, but also the unhappiness that made it easier for me to eat more. Also, you know what I mean? I think it just both sides of it just came. I took advantage of.
It was a combination of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So
I was a very big emotional eater.
So let's fast forward now. Now we're in 2016. I believe you got your surgery, March of 2016.
Yeah.
Okay. And you got the gastric bypass.
Yes.
Now, was there ever a time when you thought you could do it without the surgery?
I surprised myself within the beginning with the whole pre-op diet. I really did surprise myself because with the back pain that I had and the problems that I had that were outside of like really the eating part, I really had a really hard time losing weight. But then seeing when I did the pre-op diet, that's why I did the gastric bypass, because I had a lot of second, ailments that came that they said that would probably be the best bet is to go forward with it. 'Cause I did try working out. I did all that, but the pain in my back was excruciating. And, you know, it was pretty much my only option after that. And then with the other gastric problems that I had going on, it pretty much fixed a majority of my problems. So, I mean, I wanted to, and I surprised myself, but I mean, I had to do what I had to do.
So how did you choose the surgery that you decided on?
So it's you're given kind of like a percentage, or so you get a number of your excess weight, and my excess weight was 100 pounds. That's all they wanted me to lose was 100 pounds. So I was on scale 280. So they wanted me to go down to 180. So that was my excess weight number. And then they tell you with the sleeve, you have anywhere between 60 and 75%. And gastric bypass went up to 85%. I'm like, well, I have a big number to lose. I mean, realistically, the smarter way for me to go would be the gastric bypass. And I really didn't want to be the person that got all this, showboated, and then gained the weight back, because I knew eating was my problem. And I think if eating is your problem, this is my personal opinion, I'm no way a doctor. I think if eating is your problem, the sleep is not going to work for you, because you're just going to gain. It's easy to gain the weight back because you can still eat a lot.
Yeah. And
you can still eat a lot of the wrong foods with the sleeve. And I knew that my problem was eating large amounts. So that's why I decided to go forward with the gastric bypass.
So do you wish you would have gotten the surgery sooner?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I wish I do and I don't, because I'm glad I did it when I was done having kids, because I've watched people who have had surgery, then gotten pregnant because their bodies, I mean, luckily enough, I was able to carry my 3 children. I did have some unfortunate events. I had a couple miscarriages because probably my weight. But, you know, there is a lot of heavier people that can't get pregnant. And the second their body can, it's a beautiful thing that they are able to have children. But I also see the weight they gain and how hard it is for them to lose it. Because it's just as hard to lose it, if not harder, I think, after you've had weight loss surgery. So, no, I'm not, I mean, I think I had it at a good age, you know. I think I chose a good time.
So you've probably heard this often, and I think anyone in the weight loss community, and there's been this debate forever, and I've worked with both groups of people. What do you say when someone says, and you probably know what I'm going to say.
You took the easy way out.
Exactly. What do you say when people say that surgery is either cheating or surgery is the easy way out? And believe me, I think these people are ill-informed. And, you know, like I said, I've worked with both groups of people, and there's nothing easy about surgery. I have my opinion on it, but I want to hear your opinion. When someone says that, what do you say?
Oh my God. There's nothing easy about it. It was probably the first year, maybe 2 years. It was probably the most depressing, hardest time I've ever had in my life. I was always told that the mental side of this, be prepared, Ashley. I'm like, oh no, I got this. But no, it was, imagine not being able to eat and still having to make a table of food for people, and you not being able to touch that food. You realize how much of socialization, how much of life is centered around food, and you can't have it like that anymore. When your relationship with food is that, and you can't have it, it really messes with your mind, and you have to really, really, really work on it to surpass that feeling, because it in no way is it easy. And then surgery itself, I mean, I almost died during surgery. You know, complications and feeding tubes and NG tubes and blood transfusions. It's nothing about it is easy.
So then you have the other end where somebody decides to get surgery, but, and I think you mentioned something about the mental side of it, where people think that surgery is the end all be all, and all I need to do is get surgery and I'm going to be good to go. Now,
No.
the reality is that you're not going to be good to go with just the surgery. There's a lot of things that you not only need to do prior to the surgery, but also after the surgery to continue to see progress and to maintain any progress that you get. But what do you say to those people to save them from that mentality? That all I need to do is do surgery and, you know, everything's
Yeah,
good.
I mean, you got to work just as hard as a person that's losing the weight naturally. You got to be up in the gym. You got to work out. I mean, I didn't lose the majority of my weight until I started working out.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, yeah, you're going to lose weight rapidly because you're not eating, but you're not going to look healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to look sick. And that's, it's not a good look. I mean, the point of doing this is to be healthy and to look healthy and feel healthy and give yourself that capsule that you wanted to live in. You know, don't go ruining it because you can. And, you know, you can see it all over the internet, you know, with, you know, people glamorizing the oh, you always have gain weight back. Well, you shouldn't, because you got to work at this just as hard as, you know, you did to get the surgery, because you have to work hard to even get the surgery.
Yeah.
So it, you know, you have to constantly work hard. You got to work at it, and you got to constantly want it and keep up with your doctor's appointments, your vitamins, the working out and eating healthy. You got to keep up on it.
Mm-hmm. So
it's not easy.
So you talked about having complications, talked about almost dying. I know when we talked on the phone, you had talked about, I believe you said having to be fed through a nutrition tube or something like that for 4 to 5 months during the course of your journey.
Yeah.
Was there ever a point during your initial parts of your journey where you were ever discouraged? Or was there ever a point where you regretted the decision to do the surgery?
It was definitely scary, and I kind of like went like, what did I get myself into? Because I mean, I remember very vividly coming out of surgery just going, up, something's not right. Something's definitely not right. And it was it was scary. I was losing blood rapidly, and then all of a sudden I was out. And I just remember my mom crying in the corner of the room, and I couldn't really understand why. But then I just remember a bunch of doctors all over me, you know, shoving tubes down and draining this and draining. I sat on a drain for 4 days after my surgery because they said they either nicked something inside me or didn't sew something up completely. They said it was one of those two things, and it was causing it to bleed, and the blood was I was losing blood.
Yeah.
So I had a few blood transfusions, but that little problem had a trickle-down effect, you know? It caused my stomach not to heal right. So then I wasn't able to swallow foods, and, you know, I wasn't able to, able to swallow water. So that made me get a TPN bag. And that's basically, I have a little scar right here where a line, like an IV line was fed all the way down to my heart. And then I was on a pump for 24 hours a day. And that caused liver problems, and it's just a whole trickle-down effect that it had. But
yeah,
you get better. After I got myself off of that, eating better, you know,
so
making good choices.
And you know, I'm glad that you're sharing all this information, because the reality is that surgery, any surgery, is tough. No surgeries are easy.
Yeah.
And it sounds scary. Like you went through some real life and death things. So what do you say to that person that's scared of surgery? They know they need it, but they're scared.
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. I mean, if you're contemplating having the surgery, you could wake up tomorrow and have a heart attack. You know? What's scarier? I mean, you got to kind of just buck up.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get on that horse and go and save yourself. I mean, granted, tomorrow's unknown,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't live that way. And that's one thing I've learned through all of this
Mm-hmm.
is you can't live that way anymore. You got to make the decision to live healthier. You got to find what your motivation is. You got to find that one little bit and hold on to that. You got to remember, even if it's this big, you got to remember what you're doing it for.
Yeah. So let's
do it.
Let's talk now about diet, because the two main things that either prepare you for surgery or help propel you to continue to get results after surgery are diet and exercise.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your diet. You talked about your relationship with food earlier, but how is your diet now, and how are you using diet to continue to get the results that you're getting?
I mean, being on the opposite end of the spectrum when I was like not eating, I had to change it. I had to look at food and went, okay, you're my fuel. And I looked at the recipes. I found shakes that I liked, protein shakes that I liked, protein powders that I liked, add-ins that I liked, the vegetables that I like inside the fruit ones. You got to find what works for you and what you like to keep it going. Because if you don't like it, you're not going to do it.
Exactly.
I mean, granted, I mean, you got to find exercises that you like too, that are going to drive you. Like, I love doing deadlifts, and I go to the gym just to do my deadlifts at night.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you got to find the things that get you going,
mm-hmm.
get you hyped. I mean, I love cooking. I get my kids in on it. I show them what it's like to cook a good, healthy chicken dinner and with a good vegetable and
mm-hmm.
try new things. You got to keep it entertaining, even if it's not the best food. I mean, not everybody likes chicken every night, but it's healthy. I add some steak in, some filet mignon.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find what you like and what works. And it may not be the healthiest of food, but if you portion control your meals, you'll maintain.
Mm-hmm. So how much on a percentage scale has diet played in your success? 30%, 50%?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I can't, I have to eat within my restrictions, or it's gonna, I mean, because I can eat pretty normal now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have like, after surgery, you take a couple sips of something and you're full, but it's not really like that anymore. It's being 3 years out, but I mean, I still eat like that because I don't want to gain the weight back. I still eat my portion controls. I make sure that I eat within my limits so I don't gain the weight back.
Yeah.
Because I know the second I change it and add in the crappy food, I'm going to gain the weight back and I'm going to be 300 pounds before I know it.
Mm-hmm. And I think, you've given a lot of good information on diet that's usable, that people can immediately walk away from this interview and start to apply to their lifestyle. But what would be, what I always encourage my clients to do is focus on making, or I should say, focus on replacing old bad habits with new, healthier habits. And focus on them one at a time. So what would you tell the one thing that they could do that would start to propel their weight loss journey or get them over any plateaus in terms of nutrition, what would be the one thing you would tell them to start with?
Add water. Make sure you're drinking your water.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, water hydration has such a huge part in it, and you have to keep up on your water.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one big thing. I mean, that's what I'm horrible at is water, as you can see what I'm drinking right now. But water.
Yeah.
Water.
And that was funny because one of my clients was talking about that. And I have these questions and these conversations for all of my clients on every single workout. And I'm constantly talking about nutrition and diet and what you should be doing and how to tweak it and how to make changes. But the majority of people that I talk to about diet, the one thing that they say that they need to do more of is drink more water.
Right?
And people don't realize how important proper hydration is. And just to keep it as simple as possible, your metabolism is somewhat tied to how hydrated your cells are and your body is in general. So even if you're slightly dehydrated, that will slow the rate of your metabolism. So that means you are going to be burning less calories. So that's a great point. Guys, go get your water bottles and start to sip. I mean, over here on the East Coast, it's almost about 7 p.m. So you don't want to be drinking too much right now because I don't want you up all night on the toilet and blaming me because we told you to drink more water. So maybe start, if you're on the East Coast and it's almost 7 p.m., start tomorrow drinking more water.
Right.
But let's move on now, and let's talk about the gym. So the gym, and I've been checking out your post and watching what you're doing, and I see you're in the gym. You just said you love deadlifts. So talk to us about the gym, because a lot of people on here probably have not started working out yet, and there's probably a number of reasons why. Maybe they're not able to, or maybe from what I find is that a lot of people are afraid of joining the gym because they think people are going to be looking at me, and and I always tell them, ain't nobody looking at you. Everybody's looking in the mirror at themselves. So don't worry about people.
I swear, there's always somebody snapping their selfies. So don't even. Nobody, like you said, nobody looking at you.
Exactly. So my question is, talk about your workout routine and talk about it from the time you started working out and how it's evolved to what you're doing now.
Well, I remember I actually started with my girlfriend 2 years ago, and that she showed me a few basic things. Basically, we started off working out in the room, just kind of by ourselves, bringing some weights in there, doing what we had to do. And it's kind of evolved since then. And I go by myself now every night. And I'll start off in the room, do some floor work by myself. I'll do my lunges in there, my weighted lunges. And I'll go on the treadmill for a little bit. And then I'll do some machines for about an hour. And then that's what I'll round out with my deadlifts before I leave. And I love it. And to watch myself being able to put another weight on is amazing, and see how much stronger my arms are getting, my legs. I absolutely love watching how my legs, and not being able to put my pants on anymore in my legs, it's actually a good feeling now, because I know what I'm doing in the gym is paying off. And I'm sculpting the body I want. And that's the amazing thing about it.
So I don't know if I don't think it's as prevalent nowadays, simply because a more muscular physique on a woman is now more acceptable with social media. But you're still going to have
Right.
those ladies out there that say, I don't want to get muscular because I don't want to look like a man. Now, first of all,
Right.
you're not going to look like a man, but
No.
what do you say to those women that are afraid to lift weights because they don't want to get big and bulky and muscular?
Well, I mean, regardless, you're a woman, so it's not going to happen. You know, it's just it's something that's not going to happen unless you train and eat for that. I mean, these bodybuilders have a very strict diet because they're sculpting the body and the muscles that they want. I mean, you go in there lifting weights, you're doing it to tone your body, to get that nice womanly curvaceous body. Don't be afraid of it. That's what is it. It's so accepted today to be that thick, the THICC. Everybody wants that thick body now, and you can't. Don't be afraid what people think. Just do you. Go work out. Don't be scared. Just do it. Because it's about you and being healthy. It's not about looking like a man. It's not gonna happen. It won't.
Yeah. So what do you say to a woman that, give her one tip, one thing she should start with if she's never been in the gym before?
Squats.
Okay.
Squats and I love them, and I think they're empowering, and I think to have a nice leg and to have a squat is just, it feels good to do squats.
So,
I love them.
So squats are your go-to exercise for somebody that's looking to start their journey.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I would agree that that's a really good place to start. And obviously, there's so many different versions of a squat you can do that it can evolve to so much more than just a basic squat. It's like one of the kings of lower body exercises for men, women, children, everybody. It looks like we got a few. No, I said we got a few people that also love squats. So everybody loves squats. Squats for everybody. So let's talk about some of the other things that you've been motivated to do in your life now that you've lost so much weight. What is losing all this weight motivated you to do?
Well, now, I mean, I'm more confident in myself. You know, I've gone back to school to do to microblade eyebrows. I love going to theme parks now. You know, something I would have never. I was never able to ride roller coasters before, so getting all that, you know, when theme parks around me in California, we have a lot. So, you know, watching things open and rides open that I've always wanted to ride, I was able to ride now. And those are some, I mean, I know it sounds, you know, stupid to some, but those were, you know, those are things that I liked that I was not able to do. And I'm able to do things like that now. You know, I wish I could go back to Hawaii and do my mom or my sister and my dad got to go on the back of a boat in a parachute, and I wasn't able to because at 16 I was over the weight limit. So, you know, I wish I could do things like that, but you know, I'm still doing little things every day that I was not able to do years ago. And I literally am on my feet more than 12 hours a day, and I love it.
So what are you hoping to accomplish by sharing your story?
If I can just change one life or one girl that, you know, is feeling unsure of herself, if I can just change one life, I've done my job. And I never thought my story would ever get where it's gone already. And I am so blessed for that. And I just want to help change lives every day. And I'm doing my job.
So how can people find out more about you and some of the things that you're doing and some of the things that you got going on to help not only yourself get better results, but help other people as well get better results? Do you have anything going on? Are you doing anything? I
mean, right now, I'm just, Right now, I'm just kind of focusing on my family right now. I do some one-on-one coaching on my page through through a company, but I don't know right now. I'm just here. I document my journey. I do a lot. Yeah, just I'm all over the place. You know,
There's
I'm
nothing
just
wrong with
one
that.
thing right now. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
I misfit Ashley.
Yeah. So before we get on out of here, give everybody your Instagram, because I'm sure people are going to have more questions after this interview is over. So how can people reach out to you and follow your journey?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook, misfit_Ashley. DM me. I'm always on. I always look. I'm on Instagram. That's it. That's where I am. Misfit Ashley.
I promised you today that you were going to walk away with some usable information. Now, the key is to not let it stop here. You have to take action. Even if you use one or two of these things that Ashley talked about tonight, that is a good start. But as I like to say, Nike built a multi-billion-dollar company on one phrase and one phrase only. And that's just do it. You just have to do it.
You got to.
So, guys, thank you again for joining Ashley and I on another awesome episode of Weight Loss Warriors. Again, if you've missed any of the episodes and you want to go check them out, head on over to youtube.com/fitnessmotivation4u2. That's fitnessmotivation4u2. And while you're there, consider subscribing and hit that bell notification so you never, ever miss another episode or any of my awesome content. Also, if you've got a weight loss story that you'd like to share and you'd like to do it here on a future episode of Weight Loss Warriors, and you're watching this live, go ahead and DM me and let's talk. But if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link down below and let's talk about getting you on a future episode. Last but not least, if you're looking to start a weight loss journey but you don't know what to do, or you've started a journey but maybe you're not getting results, I would love to help, and I'd love to do so by offering you a free 30 days to my online fitness and nutritional coaching program. I'm getting all choked up. I don't even know. I can't even talk. But anyway, if you're watching this live, go ahead and DM me and let's talk. But if you're watching this on YouTube, down below there's going to be a link in the description where you can reach out to me and register for your free 30 days. Guys, we're going to get on out of here. We had another absolutely awesome episode. Ashley, thank you so much for being a part of it. Guys, you know how it goes. There you go. Hey, guys, we're out of here. That's it for now. This is Mr. Fitness, the body transformation specialist, and Ashley signing off. And as always, where there's a will, there's a way. And we hope you have an awesomely great day. Till next time.
Bye, guys.